So astrology and numerology, they are definitely tied together and they're definitely related to each other. I used to be a little bit of a, what's the word for it? Cheeky, I suppose, is a good way to say it, and say that numerology was lazy man's astrology, i.e. I could work out the numbers and do that sort of stuff, and then I realised there was a lot more to that science as well. At the end of the day, though, let's go through very quickly what each number, what it represents. They're not necessarily star signs, but they're the planetary energies. And not only just for me, but you're talking about number 1 is the sun, number 2 is the moon, number 3 is, in my case, Jupiter, as I see it, as Jupiter. 4 is Uranus, 5 is Mercury, 6 being Venus, 7 being Neptune, 8 being Saturn, 9 being Mars, and the 0 I see as Pluto, and that's usually an addition. Very, very interesting. These numerological numbers I often found as a teenager, and I say teenager as an astrology, someone who was an astrologer as a teenager, going to a party somewhere and someone says, do my chart for me, read my palm, or that sort of stuff. It's like, no mate, I don't do it like that. I don't have your chart, I don't have your birth time, I don't have this. But eventually what happens is you have to, in order to sound credible, you end up in a situation where you have to learn what I call a cheat's way of understanding astrology. I'll teach you some more ways of doing this, or to simplify it, utilizing that numerology factor. I found that things like by looking at the numerology, especially even things as simple as the date of birth of somebody, that when you got something, so someone might be born on the 31st of a month, they are a 3, 1, adding up to 4. So that's Jupiter, the sun, and Uranus. And what you'll tend to find is when you do a simple interpretation across those 3 and blend them all together, that gives you a pretty good understanding of that particular person's personality traits and where they're at. That's a learned skill, of course, but you've got to understand what those planetary energies mean, but we'll go through that at some stage in the future. All right, cheers.